Hi guys, it's Penny Rose Journals. I have a bit of a different one for you today, and you have a bit of a different view of my messy desk. Sorry about that, but she's a big one and I couldn't fit her in the camera without expanding our view a little bit. Well, this is Allison. What's most unusual about Allison is she won't be for sale in my Etsy store. She is a commission for a lovely crafty lady who contacted me and said she needed an orange journal. Yeah, so orange is not a colour I normally use. I don't think I've ever created an orange journal before, so she was a bit of a challenge, and I enjoyed every second because she's bright and cheerful and beautiful. She is a monster though. This lovely lady is not a journaler, so she said, I don't want writing space. I want lots of things to look at and enjoy, and I like Victorian ladies and children, and orange. So here we have her. This is Allison. Her cover is made of fabric scrap. I collected everything orange that I had in my stash and went to work. So she has a fabric scrap cover, a hidden spine. It's a bit hard to show you everything in the camera. There's a little orange tassel with some beads and whatnot, and the back cover is the same as the front. She has 3 big chunky signatures, and yeah, the front cover has just a little bit of collage with some doily lace, some little lace ribbon flowers that I put together with a couple of buttons and an orange tone, a few other little pieces of doily, just a card made up of the papers that I used in the journal. Has a little pocket on the front and holds 3 little cards, flower cards. So yeah, let's get into her and have a look, see. Make sure you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, we're all good. Okay, like I say, her signatures are chunky. She does not sit flat in any way, shape or form. She could if she had nothing in her, but she's full of stuff. Her inside front cover and back cover are made out of this paper collage. This was all the papers that were left over when I finished. Basically, I did a big paper collage on card and then cut it to fit size. So yeah, there's some of the orange staining I did on the old book page. There's a little bit of scrapbook paper, book pages, dictionary pages, printouts, edges of decorative pages. Everything that was left went into here. It cleaned all the scraps off my desk. I wish it cleaned all the scraps off my desk. It cleaned a lot of scraps off my desk, but there's still scraps. We know there's still scraps. This is a little envelope pocket, and there is just a little piece of made ephemera in there. There's a little pocket on the front that holds a little burnt tag, wooden tag, and some little sewing snaps that I have left on their original piece that I received them on, and just popped on a piece of scrapbook paper. There's a little book page with some adornments to make it a bit more autumny, a bit more in colour theme. That's just manila folder with leaf stamps on it. This is a doily that I had in my stash. It had a beautiful embroidery of orange flowers, so I thought perfect. Some reproduction ephemera with a lady peeking through the other side. It's just a piece of dictionary page, and yeah, she's in there. Here, this was a table mat that I had, and it had sticks in it, but it was orange and pretty and shiny, and I thought, oh, that's an interesting piece of texture to pop in here. So there's a piece of this. There's a few pieces of this throughout, you'll see. A bit more of that doily that was on the front cover. It's just a little flip with a lady in her wedding dress underneath. This reproduction of a report card with just some orange theme stamps around the outside. These again are little strips of book page that were left over from other things in the journal. So I just made little pockets and popped in some ephemera. There's some faux postage stamps. A bit of a butterfly torn out of a page. Little bit of scrapbooking doodads that I had floating around. And some actual postage stamps in the orange theme. On this side we have a little pocket up here with just a little piece of ephemera tucked in. A lot of these pieces of ephemera, or reproduction ephemera, have a reproduction photograph on the back. There was no need for journal space. I decorated everything. Here is a journal card just from a piece of scrapbook paper. And here's an envelope that has just one of my origami paper doll bookmarks tucked inside. This is a very flimsy, or let's say flimsy, delicate, I suppose is the word we use, piece of music paper. To avoid it tearing out of the journal, I have used this reproduction piece of identification paper to strengthen up the spine there. So it's just glued onto the page up to about this point, which makes a little tuck. So there's a couple of journal cards from scrapbooking paper there. You can see the beautiful colour of the old paper on this side. It's just gorgeous. This is a piece of dictionary that is Afrikaans to English. Here is a button card made out of a reproduction punch card. Just has a couple of decorated paper clips holding it in. It's just a collection of orange coloured buttons that I have picked up along the way. It was an interesting time going through my stash, just looking for one particular colour. And an unusual colour at that. There's not that many orange things around, I find. But I certainly had enough to make Allison here. This is just a little decorated paper clip. It just has a little pocket with a couple of little cards tucked in, just cut out of scrapbook paper. On the other side of that page there is an altered greeting card. It just has a pocket with a few pictures, orange of course, and a little bit of fussy cutting on the back. These cute little orange buttons were actually in my stash as they were. I found them the other day and I thought, what could be more appropriate for an orange book than, well, oranges. So there you go, a little card full of orange buttons. What sort of clothing one would put orange buttons on, I'm not entirely sure. Possibly baby's clothing that you never have to button up, because that would be a nuisance. This is a beautiful picture from a shipping book that I had. It just fit the theme so nicely. It's a beautiful, beautiful calming scene. On the other side, I have an envelope flip. In there is another envelope just made of book page. Inside there we have a couple of pieces of ephemera for her to find and enjoy. I won't give away all the secrets. There is little bits and pieces tucked in here that are only for her new owner. This is a book page pocket. There's a little altered slide with an orange postage stamp. This is a piece of original ephemera from 1967. Bacon apricots, a packet of soup. I don't know, a bunch of other stuff, some chocolate, some vinegar, something else. All came to $2.04. I would very much enjoy a shopping trip that came to $2.04 and gave me a full trolley. Never going to happen. Couple of pieces of ephemera backed with reproduction of photographs. Flip our envelope back down. Right, on this side we have another envelope flip. This one's pinned closed with another little decorated paper clip. Inside there is some scraps from book pages and whatnot from in the journal. So there's just a few little extra bits and pieces to play around with in here if there's things that you might like to do. This is a double belly band. It just houses a bundle of book pages, all very old. There's some German and some poetry and part of a storybook, an old map from an atlas, and some French. It's all very old. It's all very lovely and grungy and foxy. You can see all the foxing on this page. Yeah, it's just delightful sort of papers to get your hands on. It's just popped in there for something to investigate and enjoy and use where you choose. Here is another pocket. It has a couple of pieces of reproduction ephemera and a tiny tag. Of course, there's some reproduction photographs on the back of those. And over here is a little doily made into an envelope with a couple of extra pieces of ephemera tucked in. Quite like these. It's a nice way to use up a doily. And they look quite sweet. There's another one of the pictures out of that same book. A little page dangle made out of an old earring. Maybe not entirely in the orange range, but a bit restful for the eye after so much orange. It's very cheerful, but it's nice to see something else here and there. There's another one of those little paper clips with the card inside. On the other side of the page there is just a faux postage stamp clipped in and another book page piece. Over here there's just a cute little flip with a couple of orange theme stamps and a faux stamp on the other side. A few stickers. This is the other side of that beautiful music paper and the other side of the identification papers that have been reproduced to help the spine from falling apart, and just a little piece of reproduction ephemera tucked in there. Here is a little pocket with some ephemera and a little card, little I guess, journaling card. You don't have to journal in it. This is a 2-tier pocket. There's a pocket at the back and a pocket at the front. Here is a piece of old book page that I have been ink dyeing on with stencils. A bit of rubber stamping on this side. Another one of those ladies peeking through a dictionary page on that side. On this side of the page we have a little tuck with a couple of little pieces of ephemera tucked in there. Here's the other side of that envelope pocket, and in there we just have a reproduction photograph and some very old hook and eyes that were made in England. Just sitting in my stash waiting for their opportunity. On the other side we have another one of those little burnt wooden tags and just a little journaling card. Here's another doily. This one had some yellow and yellow-orange sort of embroidery. This is a piece of sketching paper that has been jelly printed on with ink dye. The lovely lady who has commissioned this journal is very much into her nails. She has the longest nails I have ever seen. I don't know how she handles them. They are gorgeous. She's a real artist and does amazing things with them. So I included this lovely lady, the Dowager Empress, and because she had these great big long nails, and I thought how exciting to see that it's not a new hobby. Royalty used to do this. So there you go. I'm pretty sure she didn't have gems and Halloween stuff stuck in her nails, but I tell ya, it's an art form. It really is. There's a little reproduction matchbook cover as well. Here's just a little flip with ladies from the 1880s. And again, another one on the other side. I love this paper. It is a book listing all types of transistors. It was batch dyed, and it's just all the little numbers and the batch dyeing. It's just beautiful. Here is a pocket with a couple of pieces of ephemera tucked in. It's just a long piece of scrapbooking paper. Here's another little altered slide. This one has a leaf skeleton inside, a bit of decoration. A little poem I picked up along the way, and a faux postage stamp as a tuck. Here is a little page that has a fabric flip over it. It's held down by a rose gold bulldog clip. It's quite cute. This is some, I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but it's very gauzy, and it's got threads running through it, so it's quite reflective. It's quite pretty. Tucked in the other side is just a journaling card. Over this side we have a pocket made out of wallpaper. This is a wallpaper sample. There's a trifold flip, an altered playing card, and a cute little paper and fabric flower that I had in my stash that just seemed to suit. Over here we have a couple of pockets, both with those little burnt wooden tags inside, and a little file folder made out of manila folder. It just has a couple of pockets with some interesting little ephemera in. It's a really interesting piece of textured paper, and some pockets on the inside. And that was also batch dyed. You can see some rust stains and all sorts of interesting themes going on there. This was a piece of very, very coffee dyed and oven baked office paper, just printer paper. This book was invaluable here. I had so many beautiful, beautiful pictures from this flower arranging book that were in just the most gorgeous tones for this journal. So I used a few of those pages. They look really lovely in here. Here is another little envelope tucked into a tuck spot, and in there is a little tag and some ephemera, and that is just a reproduction piece of identification. Here is a big envelope just decorated on the front. The little envelope flap has some lace, some orange lace, and there's a few pieces of ephemera and whatnot tucked in there as well. Here's another little page dangle made from an old earring. This was my Mop It Up page for my stenciling while I was making this book. So there's a little bit of everything. Just enjoy the grunginess of that. It's the other side of that large envelope. And again, some old book pages and ephemera tucked in there. Here's a little library pocket made out of paper bag, shopping bag. Has a tag tucked in the back with a little see-through window there, just made out of tracing paper, and a couple of little tags tucked inside the front. It's just a bit of collage that was done out of leftover bits and pieces also. This was a book page that just had a beautiful picture of this young man on it, and he just looks so lovely. So I did some rubber stamping, and there he is. There's a page all of his own. On this side there is a little tuck made out of scrapbook paper. This is some beautiful, interesting handmade paper, I guess. I found it in a grab bag somewhere. It had this interesting edge on it, so I just left it on there. It was quite interesting. Has a little tag as a pocket there. There's another little tag behind it. And here is another tag that is held on with a paper clip that is holding on to a fabric clip on this side, and another tag. It's just tucked under the fabric flip there. Here's another piece of that interesting paper, a couple of actual postage stamps on their paper, and a recipe that I came across in my travels, a little handwritten recipe. Just gorgeous handwriting. That's an old piece of ephemera. This is the front page of a book. It's just that thick sort of card page that you get in a book. I liked the green along with this orange theme. I thought it just provided a little bit of rest for the eye and a little bit of calmness in amongst everything else going on here, because this is decorated to within an inch of its life. There's a couple of journal tags in there. They just made out of scrapbook paper and a few bits of ephemera. This was just a cute picture and a piece that I found in a book. It's just made into a pocket to house a big journal card. On the other side there is a pocket made of that book page, the flower arranging book. In the back there is a couple of pieces of reproduction ephemera, and in the front there is a lady with some real attitude. The quote underneath, and she honestly looks like this is how she feels, is "I regard you with an indifference closely bordering on aversion." Like, honestly, that's the sort of thing you think of in the shower and you say, oh, should have said that. She just has that look on her face like, yep, that's definitely her quote. She said that. Right to somebody's face. Here is a beautiful sort of autumnal toned doily that I had in my stash, just waiting for the perfect journal, and Allison is the perfect journal. It's a piece of my beloved religious book with the tiny text. I love this paper, love the tiny text. It's just so decorative, and there's just a beautiful picture attached. This is a picture of an Australian Christmas tree. We have these in WA. I'm not sure if they're Australia wide, but yeah, they flower around Christmas and they're orange, so couldn't be more perfect. Here is a envelope flip. It is just tied closed with this little piece of orange fabric. It flips up at the top and just slowly flips down, and there's little pieces of ephemera in each envelope. It's just made out of very old book page. It's quite delicate but strong enough for this purpose, and it just looks so cute sitting here on a page with a little fabric bow. That I am struggling to redo. There we are. Nothing ever goes right on camera, isn't that how it goes? This is a doily. Again, some of the scraps from the book have just been stapled over through the page. It's made a little tuck spot for some reproduction ephemera. And on this side there's an old book page. It's the index page of a cyclopedia. It's not an encyclopedia, it's called a cyclopedia. So there you have it, a bit of history. On this side, this is also bits of paper. It's very soft, it's quite textural. These were all leftovers from making Allison. I just made a page trim with them, and it's enough to tuck a few pieces of ephemera underneath. On this side we have a pocket made out of an old book page, a couple of pieces of reproduction ephemera stuck on to give it some decoration, and some little things tucked inside. We have a reproduction apple label, a journal card made from packaging, and this little piece of interesting paper that I found in a grab bag somewhere along the way and just seemed to fit perfectly in here. On this side we have one of those pockets made of the flower arranging book. There's a piece of ephemera and a big faux postage stamp tucked in there. There's a little swirly paper clip in rose gold holding on this side of the page a very big bookmark. This is made out of my own handmade paper, just with a bit of sewing paper, sewing tissue as decoration, and it's just backed onto a piece of sturdy fabric, so it's quite flexible and soft and interesting. It has a little heart ruffle up the top here that's also made out of the sewing tissue. Here's another pocket. It has a map from a book and a big journal card tucked inside. This is going to be a very long video, I'm sorry, but there's just so much to get through. Here is another fabric flip that's an altered paper clip. And on this side it just has a big tag tucked inside, and tucked into just the folded page behind that is a little ephemera flip out. Here is another page dangle made from an old earring. There's a belly band Another one of those envelopes with some ephemera inside, and another journal card made from packaging. And there's a little hidden flip here in the belly band. Here's a book page pocket, just some reproduction tickets tucked in, a few pieces of ephemera, and another one of those doily envelopes. Here we have a little flip made from a paper bag that I had on hand. It's quite sturdy paper bag. There's just a couple of little bits of old book page with things drawn on them underneath. Here we have just some stenciling, just some pretty autumn leaves stenciled on the page. This is a piece of tissue paper that was printed on, has a book page printed on it. Just seemed to suit with the colours. Here you have an altered paper clip, another one of those ones with the little card inside. It's just holding on an old envelope, or an envelope made out of a cookbook, and again inside there is some scraps of paper from the actual making of the journal, so they will go with everything in here. There's a few other bits and pieces in there too, but here's another pocket made of that same book. It has some reproduction photos and a little journal card tucked inside. Again, another pocket made out of that paper bag, a reproduction photo, a journal card, and a piece of calligraphy paper, Chinese calligraphy paper. This is some napkin, a very old recipe from a magazine for Swedish Easter buns. Just something kind of interesting to have a quick look at. Some more of that music paper. Here is a journal card with just a pocket on the front with a couple of little tags and reproduction ephemera inside. On the back there is some paper art that I have had floating around here for a very long time and just seemed to call to be in Allison. So here she is, just winging her way to a new home. A huge paper clip. Just enormous paper clip. It's just holding in a little notebook onto this page. Some dictionary paper, just a fussy cut flower from a gardening book. And this is a big belly band made with a spine of a book with just a couple of little bits and pieces tucked in behind. It actually wraps over the top of the paper, so there is a little bit on this side and up the top, and it has just been used as a tuck spot for a few little pieces of ephemera as well. Here's another book page pocket, just has some bits of reproduction ephemera, a little tag, a faux postage stamp, and a little button. And there we have it. That's it. That's Allison. You have seen her from beginning to end. If you're all still awake and with me, I thank you so very much for coming along and having a look at her. She was a great deal of fun to make, and I'm sure she will be very happy in her new home. I will miss her cheery face when I get to work in the mornings. It's been a real joy to make her. So thanks very much for coming along. This is Penny Rose Journals. You won't see Allison in my shop. She is winging her way tomorrow off to a new home. And yeah, hopefully we will see you here again next video. Thanks for coming along. Bye.